Hello everyone, welcome to another motovlog on my channel. My name is Marshall3498, and on today's motovlog it's going to be motorcycle related as normal. And today's motovlog is going to all about this 2023 KTM 890 Adventure base model that I'm riding now, the newest updated design that has a few changes. So now that I've spent some time on the bike, I've rode it, you know, lots of different scenarios: 4-lane highways, 2-lane highways, 2-lane back roads like this, varying degrees of temperature from summertime right at 100-degree heat, and you know, down in the mid to lower 50s. So I have a good temperature range of what the bike feels like at all those temperatures and different kind of roads to give you a fair and honest review. The bike currently has right at 800 miles on it, which I think is enough time spent with the bike to give a decent, you know, fairly good mileage review. I'm not going to say, you know, it's a whole year's worth, but I've only had the bike, I'm filming this at the end of September, and I've only had the bike since end of July. So, you know, right at 2 full months, maybe 2.5. So first things first, this bike I purchased to replace my 2022 KLR 650 that I thought would be a good bike for the money, and it was, but it wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So this bike replaced it. I sold the KLR after only putting ironically right at 800 miles, close to 900 on it, and just the longer I had it, the more its flaws that I didn't like about it arose. But today's video is all about this. So to give you a comparison where I'm coming from, I currently own a 2016 Yamaha FJR 1300. That is my touring bike, you know, meant for covering quite a bit of distance in a day. And this is more my back road, commute to work, mid-Atlantic BDR, Smoky Mountain 500, you know, true adventure bike, so to speak. And, you know, there have been a few weird quirks that the KTM 890s do, and that is a one-cylinder start, or the start where they just don't want to stay running, like it literally just did when I just left my residence a few minutes ago. But to be honest, that doesn't happen often. It only happens really when the bike is dead cold and has been sitting at least overnight or more. And to be honest, that's only happened maybe, you know, of all the starts, of all the mileage I'm putting on the bike, I don't know how many starts that'd be, at least 50 starts. It's probably done it, you know, 7 or 8 times, maybe more like 5 or 6. So it's not a huge deal breaker. You know, yes, it's kind of annoying to pay this much money for, you know, a middleweight adventure bike and do that. But to be fair, I did decat this bike, so it no longer has the stock catalytic converter. That you should never take that off. Don't take, you know, what I did to be the end all be all. So it has an Aero mid-pipe delete on it that deletes the catalytic converter, and I believe that catalytic converter actually has a resonator in it as well. This kind of has a resonator, but it doesn't have a catalytic converter anymore. So that does probably make the bike a little leaner, so that probably doesn't help matters. And according to my dealer, who just done the 600-mile break-in service, that should get better and less frequent as time goes on and as the bike breaks in more. But it's not a huge deal breaker to me. The bike's been fantastic. The brakes are good. The motor's excellent. Plenty of power there. Very smooth, even at higher RPMs, you know, when you're really kind of revving it out a little bit on a back road, having some fun. And it's a playful little rowdy bike that begs you to ride it kind of hard, and it likes that. But it also, you know, cruise on a little back road like this too, and has no problem doing that either. The fueling's good. There's no lugging. The only fueling thing that I've noticed is it's like in first gear at like 11 miles an hour. The first gear is kind of tall, so if you try to do the exact same speed in that without going more like 15 or 16 at first, it kind of wants to chug and kind of lurch just a little bit. But if you switch to second, which is even taller than first, weird, that usually goes away for the, you know, and doesn't do it, which is odd. But because the bike's under less load then than what it be in first and less RPMs. But yeah, That's just one of those things, I guess. You know, you have a bike that makes a lot of power out of a fairly small compact motor, and you know, I guess it wants to be revved up more than that, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't seem to do it in rain mode as bad, but in street mode it does it more, I guess, because maybe the mapping is different, the throttle, you know, mapping or whatever in that mode. I don't know. But the bike's fantastic. I've got, you know, low, like a consistent 50 miles a gallon or high 40s out of it with every tank, no matter really the riding condition, whether, you know, I'm riding it more 4-lane back road or roads like this. You know, so it's averaged around 48, 49, maybe even 50, you know, on days where I'm just touring with it and really covering a lot of distances and riding it a little easily, or less, more or less, you know, at the speed limit. So, you know, I can't find any faults about it. The only thing I wish that was available, and that will come with time, is maybe about a 3 or 4 inch taller aftermarket windshield. Not necessarily really any wider than this. This does a pretty good job, but it's just really noisy at speeds at 60 to 70. The wind coverage is pretty decent, but it's just noisy. It's a lot of air moving around you. There's no buffeting actually, or it's very little, even with a peaked helmet, which I'm wearing a Climb Cross Pro, and it doesn't, you know, if you turn your head to do, you know, head checks to look in your lane, it doesn't really pull on, peak your helmet or pull on your head or anything. So I just wish it was a little bit taller. I could probably fix most of that with putting one of those little clip-on spoilers, but I've seen that it usually breaks some people's windshields by having that on there. Of like, you know, where this windshield here is mounted with 6 bolts, so it's pretty rigid, and I think that makes it flex too much and they eventually break, from what I've seen. So I'll probably just wait on an aftermarket solution, that way I don't break the stock one, because, you know, supply chain stuff is still a thing these days. It's hard to get parts for some of these bikes. I'm fortunate enough that mine come with it. Some of the first couple batches of these bikes still came with the R windshield, or waiting on the base model windshield, what I'm riding, which is a little bit taller and a little bit wider, I believe. So I'll just wait on that, you know. But other than that small little quirk and the weird starting thing every once in a while, the bike's great. The electronics work really well. All the screen is really easy to navigate through. Even the buttons, I know this is a weird thing, but bikes like this, when you want to change modes and turn the heated grips up and down, like especially when it's dark or dusk, all these buttons right here, trying to ride and show you a little bit, they're backlit, as well as the ones on the other side. Of course, over here is just a start and stop switch and a hazard, but at least it's all backlit. You know, the headlight's really good at night. On high beam, like, I live in a fairly rural area, so on high beam especially, trying to watch out for wildlife commuting to work, the high beam really throws a lot of light very far, just almost as much, believe it or not, as a car headlight does on high. Pretty close to it. On low, it's still bright. It still has a wide coverage area, even on low. You know, I can't find any faults about it, other than one other little quirk, which it's a KTM thing that all KTM riders know. Is a stock seat, even though it's been improved, is still not the greatest. It's about an hour-long seat, and after that, you're ready to take a break for about 5 minutes of walking around, or you know, the few days I've done in this bike, like to get it serviced recently, where I put, you know, 260 miles on it, rode it 130 miles to dealer the back way, even though I could have rode it a little quicker and only rode like 90 miles and took the interstate, but I didn't want to do that because interstates on bikes are not my thing. So, you know, I rode it that far in one day and was still comfortable, even getting home. Look at this is great. Get on your side, moron. Anyways, but you know, the bike's been really fantastic, other than the stock seat. And really what I did to remedy that most of the time is I got uncomfortable. I just stood up for a few minutes, and that went away for, you know, another and then about 30 more minutes to come back, you know. So, but other than that, all the windshield and the seat are fixable things. That's not a big deal. That happens with a lot of bikes. Not everybody's happy with a stock windshield. Not everybody's happy with a stock seat. Some like both, some don't. It's a personal preference thing. And, you know, is this bike worth, you know, the mid 15-ish price point? To my opinion, absolutely. It's been a really good bike for me. I've enjoyed every mile I've put on it so far and continue to do so. I actually bought this bike with the tech pack already from the dealer. My local, well, I should say local, but the dealer I did get mine from actually gave me a 10% discount on that tech pack and didn't charge me any labor to unlock it, which a lot of dealers charge like a 1 hour rate or whatever their 1 hour rate are to unlock it. But this dealer, they're in Asheville, Giro Astral Sports in Asheville, Tennessee. It's actually in Mills River now. They've moved, but those guys are amazing. I put a few KTM power parts on it and let them do it. Just some of the stuff I just didn't really feel like doing. They gave me a 10% discount on that and put all the stuff on, the extra parts, even the stuff that I brought them that I didn't buy for them. They put all those stuff on because I bought the bike brand new for them for free, which I think is excellent. Yes, you're spending a lot of money for a bike, but at least you get a little bit of a break on some stuff. You know, they probably spent, you know, if I would have paid for all that labor out of pocket, the accessories that they put on it, I probably would have paid at least $500 out of it, and that's $500 I didn't have to spend, and I didn't have to put it on. So it's kind of win-win for me. But yes, KTM gets a bad rep for reliability issues, but I'm here to tell you, if you're willing to take a chance to see what it's like to own one of these middle-level venture bikes, they're absolutely fantastic. You know, the gas tank design down low makes a bike that weighs 465 pounds feel more like 410. It really makes a big difference. You know, the bike's very stable at even interstate speeds. Even it be, you know, a fairly lightweight, middleweight adventure bike, it just does everything really well. I mean, really well. Like 4.5 stars out of 5. Well, everything. It's really crazy. I've had the bike off-road one time. Sadly, I did not film it that day because I knew probably most of my audio from freaking out would be unusable and I wouldn't be able to narrate. So maybe the next time in the near future, before winter comes, I'll take it off-road riding and I'll actually do you know, show you what the bike's like off-road. I'm fortunate enough I can be off-road with this bike from where I live in about 45 minutes. Pretty short ride, actually. So on that, guys, if you've not already done so, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions you have or talk about in the comments things you don't like about the bike, and I'll be the first to tell you what I think about it in an honest opinion matter. So on that, guys, thanks for watching today's motovlog. Ride safe and have fun. We'll see you on the next one. See ya.